Really?
I'm gonna do this again. Greetings and welcome to Office Hours with Dr. G. I'm your host, Dr. G, and I am so glad that you could keep our appointments. Tonight's guest is Mama Kali Sichen El Dey, ethnographer, cosmologist, astrologer, herbalist, and healer. She was born the 13th child and 7th daughter of an American Indigenous family organic to this land. She earned a Bachelor of Science degree in nutrition at CSU and completed academic classes in Traditional Oriental Medicine in San Francisco. In 2012, she was officially ordained to the divine ministry by the Grand National Chairman of Moorish America, Sheik Elihu N. Pleasant-Bey. Mama Kali Sichen El Dey says most of what she knows and has learned stems from her independent studies in various metaphysical disciplines: astronomy, astrology, world religions, ancient and modern world history. And through her many travels throughout this planet, throughout the rainforests and grasslands and deserts of North America, South America, adjoining islands, and throughout 20 countries in Africa alone, alongside her late husband of 33 years, ethnobotanist Dr. Kwaku Andu. His love was in discovering unknown plant species, and as his field secretary, always by his side, Mama Kali was able to continue her quest for wisdom in its highest form. They lectured in most of the American cities of America at major events like the Whole Life Expo and in our own communities. They showed the photos they took with a Kodak snapshot camera. These pictures are still speaking today and providing more insight into the hidden world most of our people are not aware of, the secret world of the ruling elite. All of this in the preparation for preparation for HipHop Hieroglyphs. Why was Kali Sichen El Dey chosen to bring the message she calls HipHop Hieroglyphs? The answer, she can only speculate. She describes her work since the late 1990s with the cosmic prophecies of San Francisco as a multidimensional journey to open her eyes to the secret world hidden in the catacombs of the ruling powers of this planet. So secret, so hidden that most people will reject the facts that are hidden right in their face. Now in her elder years, Mama Kali explains that it's time to reveal that which was given to me to interpret and to share. Open your eyes to see and to understand and overstand and understand. It's deep. Tonight, however, she will discuss the rise of feminine power and why stars are the only true clocks. I'd like to welcome to Office Hours with Dr. G, Mama Kali Sichen. How are you? Welcome. Greetings. Kind of had a little hiccup in the beginning, but we started all over again. How are you?
Yes, thank you. Thank you so very much. I certainly appreciate you inviting me here and giving me the opportunity to talk to your people. You know, I'm a fan and I'm watching quite often. And it's just an honor to be able to come here and to address and share what little I know and some of my experiences with your people, your audience. Um, it's just an honor, and I thank you again so much for inviting me to come.
I am so honored, Mama Kali, for your presence here. You are one of those quiet storms. You know how you've been working so long and sort of in the background doing. And before we get into the subject at hand tonight, I would like to just talk a little bit more about your background and your experiences with your late husband and what you all did, and how a lot of people know you or know your product line, Mama Moringa. So please tell us some more about Mama Kali Sichen. And it's interesting, you are the 13th. Are you the 13th of 13, or were there more?
The 13th child.
So were there more than 13? You have more than 13?
No. I'm the baby.
You're the baby. Okay.
Mhm.
So
Yes, the
13.
13th child and the seventh daughter.
Okay. Wow.
Mhm,
Wow. How
mhm.
was that growing up with such a large family?
Well, by the time I came along, so many had already left. I've got nieces and nephews older than I am. And so I was their auntie when I was born. So my mother was 45 and my father was 50 years old when I was born,
Oh,
and so I think that by the time I was about 12, then I was in the house with my mother, and one of my sisters had returned home, and she had gotten married and had a baby. And so, we were there with my mother, and just about everybody else was gone. But I remember my early days when we slept three in a bed before we
okay.
moved to the other house and before some of the younger ones left. I had a sister who was 4 years older than I was, and then the sister who returned when I was 12, she was like, I think, 6 years old or 8 years older than I was. And so, by the time everybody was gone, they were grown, they were gone.
Right.
So I never did experience except for say between from birth to about 11 when we moved to a new home. Yes, so it was a lot of people, but and coming and going because my brothers and sisters, they moved around quite a bit, especially my brothers. At that time, all young men had to go to the military.
Mm.
And so my mother, she taught me geography actually by having me write to my brothers all over the world. And so they would always bring me a gift when they came back home, from so many places. And so that is my early years with my brothers and sisters. I would write letters to them, and then my mother would help me to understand where this place was. They were all overseas at some point or another, or in different states, you know.
Hmm. Yeah.
hmm
And then
So,
you later later on in your adult life, you started being a world traveler yourself.
yes, yes. Actually, I started even world traveling before I met my husband. As a matter of fact, I was returning from Mexico to the university. It was summertime, and I was returning from Mexico. I had gone down to Mexico. Very interesting travel. I got robbed and had $7, and so I had been there for about 2 weeks already, and I got robbed. Went into this place, and you know, and I had $7, so that got me over. I took the bus through the Sonora. Is it the Sonora Desert? To get over the border so that someone could send me um, some money to get home.
Mhm.
And I was in California at that time. And so when I did get back home, that's when my girlfriend at the university said to me, "Oh, you got to meet this. You got to meet this man." And so she's the one who actually introduced me to my husband. He had come there uh, for further studies, he thought, but you know, they didn't have a curriculum for him at that time. But
I guess he had to come there for you.
well, probably yes. But anyway, then we moved to North Carolina because that's my home, and then we we stayed there, and actually we were in that city called Soul City. Most people have never heard of Soul City. Did you ever hear of Soul City?
Never, never. Tell us about Soul
Isn't that
City.
something?
Yeah.
Well, do you remember Floyd McKissick?
He's a singer,
He
right?
was a civil rights
Oh no, not a singer. Okay.
leader. He was with CORE, the Congress on Racial
Racial equality. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
well, I think it was Nixon who told him, hey, if you can get the Negroes to vote for me, then I'll give you a new city. We'll build a new city there in Carolina. And so when we went to North Carolina and found out again that the curriculum they offered at the University of North Carolina in Chapel Hill still would not satisfy my husband's needs, then we went to Soul City, which was a developing new city. It was located on an old plantation. It was called the Green Duke Plantation. And if you look it up, you will see, when was this? I think it was 1978. If you look it up, you can see that the plantation building, actually, the old plantation house was very close to the house that I lived in, or we lived in when we were there, me and my two children and my husband, my brand new husband. I had two children when I met him. But nevertheless, that was the beginning of our journeys. Eventually, I went back to San Francisco because we had gone to Florida, and I did not like Florida, and so I went back to San Francisco, and he stayed in Florida. And that is when he got involved with the Babalaos down there. We both had worked in the Everglades. You know, um, they were doing all kinds of studies in the Everglades, what the vegetation, how the chemicals from the farming in Florida was affecting the vegetation in the Everglades, which was still swamp. And so we worked separately, but we both worked for the University of Florida in the Everglades, and um,
Can you tell us what is your husband was an ethnobotanist?
yes, right.
Botanist. What exactly did that entail? What did he do?
Okay, well, ethnobotany is the study of plants and the communication between plants and people, and how people use plants for food, medicine, clothing, shelter, and in fact, everything. Plants used to provide us with everything we need. And that's what ethnobotany is. And so he ran into, the Babalaos who were out in the swamps looking for plants. And these, at that time, Cuba, the Cubans were overflowing. In fact, I was there when the Mariel boat lift. I don't know. You're probably too young for all of these things, But the Mariel, when they brought when Castro emptied out all his prisons and sent them to Florida. Well, I was about finished with Florida by that time. I left, and I went to back to California. That's when I started with my studies in traditional Oriental medicine. But he soon followed, had a police incident. Our brothers who always have police incidents.
Yeah.
I mean, he's on the campus of what was that? Some hospital. And because, he was a botanist, he was always using his clippers, to cut plants, and so this policeman said he had a dangerous weapon, and he was arrested and charged with all kinds of stuff. Well, anyway, after he got out of that, about a year or so, he came to California, and that was the beginning of the long journey. So we just traveled all over the place. so many things happen. It's just, it's so amazing that right now, what I would need to do is to just, you know, document all of the things and all of the places. However, I've done a whole lot of writing already, and I have some samples of some of the books that are here. Um, and but they have to be republished
Hmm.
because they were published many years ago. Um, I was in places where I was given certain manuscripts. The one, the astrological geomancy in Africa. I was in Nigeria, and this Babalawo gave me the manuscript from 1898 because he said, "Well, you're the only person I know who understands the Ifa and astrology. So I'll give you this manuscript and you publish it." So I did that too. And that was in 1990. So, you might say tonight that you have the crone on, I'm the old woman who's been so many places and done so many things that it's kind of hard for me to talk about them. Remember when you were trying to trying to get me to give you a biography? And I
Yes.
said, well, I don't even know where to start. And so, and I say to people when they want a brief biography, I say, well, what incarnation in this life do you want me to talk about? Because that's really what it is. There were periods and times and that were separate and things happened, and I have to document it because some of it is unbelievable, especially the cosmic prophecies of San Francisco. And I wanted to give you that link. It's part of it is on YouTube now, but
Okay.
and we're having some problems because of censorship. And these are photographs. They are
And
just,
these are photographs that you yourself took. That's the interesting
yeah,
part of it. Yeah. So,
well, they were like graffiti on the walls at the beach in San Francisco. That's all it was. But then when we looked at it, we saw that there was all kinds of messages in there. And I sent you that little booklet, "The Rise of the Feminine
which I put, yeah, I put in. I unfortunately I dropped some water in my bag and it skewered the ink here, but I know it says the rise of feminine power and the ascension of the Ethiopian king. And
Right,
actually, I put this on actually, that's the cover.
right,
I
right,
put part of this
right,
on with the cover.
right.
But the there's a message. I mean, I don't know where to start with you because there's so much. Like you said, you have so much that is I don't know, that you've done, that it's kind of hard to pinpoint it into just one area. Um,
Right, right,
the When we first spoke, which was several months ago, it was just like sort of in general overall about some of the things you reached out to me, and then months passed and we had not spoken, and then came brother Rod Hayes.
oh
being
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Rod Hayes came on the show, and the interesting thing that you and other big mamas, elder mamas, began reaching out to me, and it was just amazing because I was seeing like, wait a minute, these aren't the young sisters. These are seasoned sisters that are calling me. They're in 60s, 70s, 80s, and I'm hearing about
Right.
you have a friend that's in her 90s that said, look, I'm ready. Let's do this.
Well, see, the thing about it is it's time,
Right.
bottom line. And this little booklet, The Rise of the Feminine Power and the Ascension of the Ethiopian King, actually, the Cosmic Prophecies of San Francisco actually pointed that to me
So
because,
let's back up before you go there. Let's back up and let the audience give them a background of the cosmic properties of aka hip hop hieroglyphs,
yeah,
right?
hip hop, that's a channel, HipHop Hieroglyphs.
Okay, hip hop hieroglyphs. Give us
That's
the
what I
backstory.
called it because it was in the 90s, mid 90s, when we began to take pictures. When we first saw it, it was 1995. That's when we first saw that there was a message in the graffiti on the walls at the beach. There, there's this break wave wall where when the waves come in, it doesn't go into the city because they have these high walls there. Well,
Mm-hmm.
the waves have taken over now. I hear. I haven't been to San Francisco for a while, but the waves have taken over, and the pictures that we took, they were we just had a Kodak camera snapshot, and it's
Mm-hmm.
amazing that I have such good photographs. So that's what it was back in the day. So, okay, now this is how I'm going to do this, because what the message that I'm trying to get over is that, you know, at this point in time, so many changes are converging at the same time, and so this is the time for us to make our moves. And this is one of the reasons why, I was so happy to hear from Rod Hayes, you see, because he says, hey, look, it's time, you know? And he was also saying that it was the women who would have to do it. And so, that in 1996, we went to Ethiopia because in 93, we had gotten a message from a prophet in Ethiopia who said that he had a very important message for the women in the African diaspora, and so from 93 to 96, we were preparing ourselves to go to Ethiopia. He didn't want to, well, of course, where he lived was on the high mountains right there at the the mouth of the White Nile. So you couldn't even get a car up there. We parked and we had to go up, the mountain. So of course there were no phones, and of course in '96 there weren't even in internet, not there especially. And so, we had to go for to receive the message. That's what he wanted us to do. And so when we got to, it was a place right up from the what is that in the Great Ravine, in Ethiopia. I forget what they call it right now. But there was a town called Dilo. Well, that was the closest town. And so we had to go up the mountain. And Father Casa, that's what they called him, Casa. And, we sat down there, and the animals all came around. There were just little huts all around and a bench made from bamboo. And we sat down on the bench, and all the animals came and sat around us, they just sat down. And so then the prophet came, Father Casa, and he said that he's asking us to return to America and tell the women who were born in the African diaspora, in other words, the women who were born outside of Africa, that they are the ones who will change the world. And so we did come back, and we put that message out in a book. Let me see if I can pull that book up. Yeah. You see?
Biblical manna. Okay, the spiritual message.
The spiritual message for the new millennia.
Yes.
And of course, we went along the Nile in Egypt. You see, Ando is standing at Imhotep's pyramid in the book
Mm-hmm.
that you were sent. I was standing there. I had a picture of me standing there at um, the
I
Imhotep's
see.
pyramid. Well, there is where, right. There is where we found the manna of the Bible. Now, we didn't know it was the manna of the Bible, but every country that we went to, we would go to visit, um, the botanical, um, at the universities, we would go to the botanical herbarium, and the botanical keeper, he would always, the herbarium keeper would always help us to identify the plants. So when we took that one, and in this book, we have pictures. Let me see if I can find the picture of, yeah, well, it's here, of the gentleman who was the herbarium keeper.
Mm-hmm.
And he identified the plant as the manna of the Bible. He said maybe every 200 or 300 years, the manna will fall. So when we were standing there at Imhotep's pyramid, there was just, and you see it's a desert. Nothing grows there. But I saw something green. I said, oh, well, let's see what that is. It was about 100 yards away from Imhotep's pyramid. And we went over there and picked it up, and there was this white stuff all over. Let me see. I have a picture of, where did I put that picture? Yeah. See, you see the white stuff?
Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Can you see it? It's kind of hard to get it in the
I see
middle.
it. Yeah, I see it.
Okay, that was all over the plant. And it was sticky. And the herbarium keeper told us that this is the manna that is described in the Bible. And it's, when the children of Israel, were complaining to Moses, hey, we were eating bread and meat as much as we wanted as when we were there in Egypt, and now you brought us out into this desert and we're starving to death. Wish I could just go back to Egypt. Now, does it sound like our folk? They prefer bondage.
Go back to Mickey D's. Yes.
Yeah, so we can eat and have our beer and sit around the meat pot and just eat. And that's precisely what our people are talking about now. Don't want to stand up for themselves. They just want to eat, and, be happy, uh, eat, drink, and be merry.
And the irony of that is that the times are upon us now, almost like saying, we haven't been driven into the wilderness or desert, but you go into these traditional places to where you would purchase food, and they're down the deserts. You're looking at empty shelves, or you're looking at prices that are so outrageous that you just like, I found myself. Yeah, I was looking in the shelf.
Live in what they call food deserts.
Now. Yes, there's no places, but I'm saying now when you actually go in the places where these supermarkets are, I see so many people just kind of like, they're like zombies. Like, I can't believe that if there's nothing here, or I can't believe it costs this much for what is here. Mm-hmm. And so you see all these people, and the carts are smaller. I mean, emptier, not smaller. The sizes of
they reduce the size of the boxes and
the prices up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's the same thing.
It's the same thing. Crying, they hated Moses, and they just wanted to eat. That's all. But hey, the days have changed. This is a new day. And that's
Absolutely.
why I'm giving you this information now, because we have converged in a time where, okay, I will not name them, okay? We're going from one age to, into from the Piscean age into the Aquarian age. We all hear about that.
Yes.
We're also completing a 26,000 year cycle of the precession of the equinoxes. I'm going to explain all of that with the star map behind me.
Okay.
You know, then we have and then we're moving through the galactic center, where we are being bombarded with this plasma that is awakening us, and some of us are waking up. You know, I just love it when these folks talk about they woke and they don't know nothing yet. You know, you say something to them, but that woke, I'm woke is very common now. People are saying, well, I'm woke. Yeah.
I
Well,
prefer to call myself still awakening, because there's
well,
always, it's
yeah, my
unfolding.
goodness.
It's unfolding. You don't, when you're woke, like you feel like that's like saying, I'm there. I got it. No, you don't. You're right. They don't have it. And the awakening is an ever unfolding process that you've
Right.
got to be willing to go with.
Absolutely. And I'm learning even from the pictures in the cosmic prophecies. The pictures are still unfolding. I mean, we're getting new messages all the time, because you see, and that's the way the cosmic prophecies has always been, so you'll see something, and then now, especially, why it's a real prophecy is because we took these pictures between 1995 and 1998. We left San Francisco in 1998, and the no pictures since then. But we continue to see things. This is graffiti. It's all mixed up. As some of the pictures that you saw, only two or three of them in the book from the Cosmic Prophecies. I really want you to put that link into the description. If we ran out of time, when I was trying to send it to you before the show started. It's called the Divine Intervention series, and it's only about 30 pictures with me narrating. And what we have found out is that in putting them up on YouTube, they've already censored many of the pictures.
I mean, what is the reason for them having a problem with something that your own pictures that you took? I mean, what are you supposed to do? Get permission from the city to take pictures of graffiti pictures? I mean, who was?
No, it's about what the message is. And the message is for us today. See, from 1995 until 2022, the message is for us today. Because even, I think it was maybe only a few months ago, I saw the one that they took down. It was about the RNA, and how this poke that, everybody has been encouraged to go and get,
Right.
how, they actually check it. It was on the wall in 1995. They took that down. And so it means, and there was a couple of them that they did not want. And so I've had to go for a Patreon in order to be able to show people most of the pictures. And so I'm working on that now. And even though I think there are about 32 that are in the Divine Intervention series now, I have over 200 photographs, because there were places where I had to go and take really close in. Some of the images like 50 feet long on that wall.
Did you say to me when you all were going, sometimes they would appear overnight, like you would?
Yes.
And they would be huge.
and it's huge. And so when we first saw it, and we saw what was there, we said, oh, well, who on earth could be doing this? And the next day, Ptah, Ptah, was on the wall. And we said, oh, no, 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 no. It can't be. It cannot be the ancient god of Egypt, Ptah, the one who formed the human, and of course, Ptah is Enki, of the Sumerian texts,
Mhm.
Enki and Enlil. So Ptah is also known as Enki, you know.
Is Ptah also Thoth?
Actually, no.
No? Okay.
Actually, Ta was the one who actually created,
Created.
yeah,
Created. Okay. All right.
created the Lulu. The Lulu is the created being, as is described in the Sumerian texts. The Lulu who was created by Ptah and his sister. They were geneticists. And I have actually, well, let's see. Whenever I move, I'm trying to point. No, I'm trying to point there. You see
Okay.
statue there?
Yes.
Okay. This is a statue of one of the ladies from Nibiru who actually nurtured the created beings in their own bellies. And once I get up, I can show it to you. I don't know whether you can see it well enough to see her belly there. And she's
Mm-hmm.
got that cone head. Well, you'll see it once I get up, and you
So
can.
we get all of these different representations of Nibiru. You had the what was the name of that movie where they had the it was, oh my god, Jupiter Rising was some type of a, was supposed to be like a different way of putting the conflict between Enki and Enlil and their
Right.
sister and the mother in that case and all of that. But when we see these statues that have been created in Africa, the African statues, now I'm looking, you see sort of a what we could call an extraterrestrial look on
Right.
these.
Well,
So I guess
that's what she is. She
yeah,
is
what was
definitely extraterrestrial looking. You
what was being done, and I'm trying to look behind me to see between having when you have a green screen, you can't go behind it, but there, yeah. So when you look back at these things, thinking, oh, they just kind of carved them to look sort of abstract. Now I'm saying maybe not. Maybe this is an actual representation of the beings that they know, be it, because it's passed down historically, or whether it's in their DNA cellular memory that they know, and th've created to show what
Well,
they really.
Credo Mutwa describes them.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes. What's the in the Delhi, my children, and what's the other one? Stars of what was that other book? I'm thinking of Dr. Finch's book. Song of the Stars, Credo Mutwa.
I've heard
Yeah,
of.
he describes these extraterrestrials. Okay. Oh, yeah. So you can see her well right there. But if
Yeah,
you turn her to the side, then you could see all of the features. You want me to turn her?
sure. Yeah.
Okay. Can you see
Oh,
her?
yes. So you can see
Yes.
her.
And
Okay.
they were nurturing the created being Lulu in their own bodies, and several of the Anunnaki women were recruited, including one that was called Ninti, which became a very famous, um, um, name. I knew a couple of people called themselves Ninti.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, and they did that for a while until they got tired, and they then went to upgrade the beings, the Lulu, so that they could reproduce for themselves.
And
So
yeah, would
genetic
that be the
engineering,
story? Would that be the story? I mean, it was when we talk about the book of Genesis, which is really could be the book of
right?
genetics, and explains the chapter 1 and chapter 2, which seems to be a repeat.
Hmm.
Even though the story is twisted about who came out of what and ribs and so forth, but just the fact that you see like an upgrade happens in chapter 2 to
Right.
what had happened, what it began in chapter 1, if I'm not
Absolutely.
mistaken.
Hmm.
Okay.
Right. But they did upgrade them, and made them so that they could reproduce on their own. So when you're a hybrid like that, and this happens in plants too, pretty soon you can't reproduce yourself.
Okay. So when you
I
talk
ain't gonna
about,
say nothing else.
okay, I get that because I'm trying to think what was Lulu melanated or was Lulu?
Oh, absolutely not. I
That's what I
think
was
in
going to say.
that picture, I think look in that little booklet. I think there is a picture of Lulu there, and it says, "I need not a white heart."
Oh, let me see.
Do you see it? It's in color, and
I'm
it's
looking.
like a white outline with blue eyes.
Is this one of the things that was on the wall?
Yes,
Oh well, here we are.
everything,
Yeah.
everything.
Okay, yeah. It
I
says
mean,
cool.
and that one has remained so far. It's still in the Divine Intervention series. Um, but anyway, that particular image, it was very long. It was probably about 50 or 75 feet long, but that's only a close up of a small portion right
I
there.
don't know if I can bring this back close. Let's see. What that? So,
Yeah. So that's
but the
Lulu,
writing there says, yeah, I need not
a
a
white
white
heart.
heart. A
And
white
so,
heart. Yeah, I
mhm,
see that. I see that. And it says something about who's that caused
it
after our
says
life.
Lulu, it says Lulu on a cross that says 666.
Yes, I see that.
Okay. You see,
Yes.
now there's no way see, I have
Well,
no
scale
artistic,
wise, how large was this? Would you say?
at least 10 feet tall.
So that's another question. Did they drag scaffolding out there? Somebody every
Well, okay. As I began to tell you, it said when we asked who's doing this, because it's at the beach at night.
it's dark. Yeah.
It's dark. There's no light there at the beach, and of course in San Francisco at Pacific Ocean, it's almost always foggy.
Mhm.
The only time that it's not foggy at the beach in San Francisco is September and October.
Mm.
Now it may clear up. The fog will roll out sometime, anytime during the year, but that would be in the afternoon. And then by 6 o'clock, here comes the fog again. And so there's no light. So, as I said, when we asked, well, who's doing this? How could you be doing this? And the writing on the wall said Ptah, Ptah. And then we said, no, 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 no. Ptah wouldn't come here to us and do this, couldn't be Ptah. And then the next day, Ptah was written in a whole nother place in thick blue letters. So 2 places it said Ptah.
And so you were just speaking out between the two of you, and then like it was etherically answered, and by just because you weren't talking to people around you that somebody say, "Oh,
Oh
let me go
no,
to
no,
break."
no. It was a long time before we even told anybody. It was crazy. We said, no, 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 no. Okay, my husband's a scientist. I'm a scientist. We have a business there in San Francisco. We got children. I mean, we're respectable, community people. We can't start talking about the time and come, and start writing stuff on the wall, these graffiti. And it was very seldom that even anyone we saw anybody. It was very seldom because it was cold on the beach, then in the fog. But we just walked on the beach just to get some exercise every day, and you get used to it. I mean, it never got below about 45 degrees in San Francisco. And then it probably never got above 65, except for those two months in September, October. It never got above that, ever. San Francisco is cold, okay? And so, so in two places, Ty had written the name, and so we had to accept that.
Mm.
I mean, how can we not accept that? And so it was, and I want to get to this part about how we discovered, the Cephas, the rise of the Ethiopian king. Okay. Because it was the cosmic prophecies that led us to that, and the understanding that the feminine power is rising on the planet, and you have to remember at the same time, the prophet in Ethiopia was calling us over.
Right.
Okay, so all of this is converging at the same time. So we started taking pictures in 1995, and we went to Ethiopia in 1996. He said, come and tell all the women in the born outside of Africa, that they are the ones who are going to change the world. So the women in the African diaspora, that was the message that we had to bring. And we did. And
it wasn't all the women. It was our women.
No.
Not all women.
No. Hey, I mean, there's so few even now, but we got to wait some of them. We have to get to a critical mass.
Actually, yeah.
And it's so discouraging for me, simply because so many of us believe that we have arrived because we have so-called Black women in government. They got the jobs. They're making big cash. And but they're working for the enemy.
Absolutely.
And they've taken the oath to white supremacy in order to get these jobs. And they've taken the oath to whatever, what do you call it? Fraternity, sorority that they are a member of. They've taken the oath, and so they have to do what Massa tell them to do. And Massa don't tell them to do nothing that's going to help us. Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? And so it's those women who should be in the leadership that are not on our sides. And so we have to, and maybe that's why we have to really get the grassroots women. Now, I consider myself a grassroots woman. Mm. I am. I've never, I was telling a friend of mine the other day, I used to buy high heel shoes. And then I try to put them on, to actually go out. And honey, I take them things off. I don't see how I wouldn't go out. I would not go out in high heel shoes. I never wore them in my life. After I was about 18 years old, I never wore high heel shoes. Of course, I was very anxious to wear them when I was like from 11 years or 12 years old. I was dying to put on some high heel shoes. And then after that, I would buy them, because, you got to get dressed up, put this on and look good. Well, I never wore them. I would just wear flat shoes, and because of that, I still got good feet, you know.
It took me to snap my quad tendons to realize that the high heels were not by that time the feet had already suffered, and these Piscean feet should never have been in high heels. Probably none of us actually, but Pisces with the foot with the feet.
And so you're Pisces.
Yes, but I have a Sagittarius rising, so we got legs.
Yeah.
So it's like
I'm Aries. I'm Aries, Libra rising, and so I have that balance there. Mm-hmm.
Well, I and I'm, so with there's always issues between legs and feet with me. And
especially if you wore them shoes.
I wore 6-inch heels. People thought I was tall until I had to come down. They were like, "You're short." They were like, I'm like, "No, I'm just closer to more down to earth than you are. I'm not short." Things like that. But I wore 6-inch heels. I had long legs. I have long legs, but I have a short torso. Mostly 5'2". But with my 6-inch heels, I was 5'8", easy. I was 5'3".
Well, 6-inch heels, yeah. Well, anyway, I'm not trying to impress nobody. I never was one of them people.
But you know what, Mama? We never needed them. We should have. We should have had our bare feet.
Who designs these things? Men.
Yeah.
And then and I always complain that dress up clothes for women always got the whole thing out and you be cold. I mean, you know what I mean? I never wore that. I never wore those things either. You see what I got on, Yeah, I never wore those things because it doesn't make any sense to me. And very early in my age, I had to come to terms with the fact that I am not here to impress anybody. It's the work that is important.
Absolutely.
And that is what I've always been dedicated to. But let me please begin.
I'll let you go on with Cephas because I know we want to get into, we want to talk about the, the rise of the Ethiopian
king, Cephas.
What does that mean?
Ethiopian king.
And also, I don't want you to not talk about the clock. The stars really are,
absolutely. That's the only clock. That's the only clock. We don't have any more clocks. Okay. So, that there are so many calendars. Okay, we have the Julian calendar, the Gregorian calendar, we have the Mayan calendar, we've got the Jewish calendar, we've got the Islamic calendar, and these are all in use today, right? So whose calendar is right? And it was the Anunnaki who introduced the 60 in the calendar.
Please explain.
Yeah, like the 60 seconds, the 60 minutes, the 60, that cycle.
Who are who? I guess I'm not going to say were. Who are?
Because
they are. Who are the Anunnaki, and what is their relationship to us?
Now, I can't say that I have the final word on that. I ain't that smart. Okay. It's like I've read a bit, and Malachi York did some extensive work about the Anunnaki. There are some people who call them the Anunnaki, whichever way you want to call it. It don't matter. And then, of course, Zecharia Sitchin is the one of the people who actually wrote. I actually met him. Zachariah Sitchin at one of the Whole Life Expos. It was the one in Seattle. Yeah, I met the guy. We were all in my, we were on the lecture circuit with the Whole Life Expo. And so we were there in Seattle, and I think the topic um, was the Dogon mysteries and the star system. Dogon mysteries is the star system and the New Age prophecies. And that was the name of the lecture that we were presenting at the Whole Life Expo. Okay. And so we were in the common room for speakers and lecturers. And Zachariah Sitchin and his wife walk in. Well, you know, I'm very friendly. And so, I said, hey, I'm glad to meet you, blah, 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 blah. Honey, he and his wife acted like we did not even, they didn't see us. Let alone respond to just say hi. He was a nasty guy. And not only that, he was a horrible lecturer. I could never even stay in one of his lectures. He was so dry. So I began to wonder who actually
he was writing his books.
Thank you.
And you have some experience with that ghost thing.
Oh yes, absolutely. So I mean, it's these kinds of things, and that's only one thing. I mean, but we had so many experiences going all over the world with people, and the thing about it is, a whole lot of times it was the grassroots people, because we were always on the ground walking, and especially along the Nile. Not only did we find the biblical manna, we also found a plant that they thought was extinct. And it was a very interesting tree. It's written a book in that book, Biblical Manna. And the experiences going to Ethiopia is all in that book, Biblical Manna.
Is that book still available, or is that one of the ones you're going to be reprinting?
It's another one that has to be reprinted. These books were published in the 1990s. What? That's more than 20 years. Mm-hmm. But we own I own the copyrights, and so we'll be getting to it. That's the reason why I am so happy that my granddaughter has now taken over the herb business. Now we have the same formulas that have tried and true, for the since the late 1980s. Mama Moringa was my website. If you go to mamamaringanow.com, it will take you to the new website that my daughter Essie is actually she is managing now. We have the same formulas, but new packaging, new websites, all of that. Yeah, herbalfolk.com. Thank you for putting that up. Yes, and so that's the new website, and I was so happy, that she came to take over, because I have too much to do. I have too much to do. I need at least another 40 years to finish. And probably 100 things are going to happen that I still have to write about, But I mean, it's some of the, and I'm grateful. The Great Spirit has really, really blessed me in my life. I ain't got no money, but shoot, I've done so many things, been so many places. I mean, what am I going to do with that? One day it's going to come,
Listen, before you go into pick back up with Cephas and that, could you tell us about, because I know they probably heard me when I was blabbing off your bio at the beginning, mention that you were given a was it? I don't know what exactly. Let me make sure I get this
What, a
degree.
manuscript?
No. You talked about that. No,
Mhm.
that you actually received. Let me get it right. You were ordained, rather, to the divine ministry by the Grand
Yes.
National Chairman of Moorish America, by Sheik Elihu N. Pleasant-Bey.
Uh,
Could you talk a little bit
Elihu,
about that?
well,
Because that,
Elihu Pleasant-Bey.
right, Elihu.
Elihu.
Elihu, I'm
Elihu.
saying Elihu.
Elihu.
Elihu,
You know,
yeah.
he's the one who wrote that big, thick book about a Noble Drew Ali.
Is Zoom, is that Zoom of a what is it called?
Exhuming of a
Zoom
Nation.
of a Nation, yeah.
Right.
So,
He's the one who wrote that book.
okay.
And I think that he was one of the last sheikhs to actually study with C.M. Bey.
Okay.
You know, C.M. Bey, the Clock of Destiny.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I have a copy of that actually. And see, here's another thing that happened while I was living in Ghana. I was in Ghana for 3 years and I started a moringa farm there. Well, apparently, while I was gone, my husband was here. He was taking care of business here, and I was over there taking care of business over there. And so, while I was gone, apparently, C. Freeman Bey came and left his notebook on all of the things that he has taught about more science. So I have that, you know, and I didn't find it until last year when we were clearing out we got a storage out there where some things were. And I found that and I said, oh, but I had never seen it. So apparently he brought it here and left it here and gave it probably to Ando, you know, for safekeeping. Mm-hmm. So I have all of that, you know, so I've got to put that together. It's just a loose leaf notebook about maybe 4 inches deep. A loose leaf, you know, C. Freeman Bey. He was the master astrologer. But also he, you know, he knew the Moorish science like backwards and forwards. But I'm so grateful to Sheik Elihu Pleasant-Bey, because it was at the time in my life, you know, I had started to study Noble Drew Ali when I was in Ghana. You know, that was from 2006 until the end of 2009. It was almost 2010 when I returned to America, you know. And I had a couple of books that a sister had given to me. In fact, I won 2 or 3 little pamphlets and books. And I had started studying Noble Drew Ali then, you know. So when I got back and my husband passed away, you know, I began to tune in with the Moorish American government with Elihu Pleasant-Bey. And it kind of helped me get through all of that. And I was just so taken back by the prophet and what he brought us, you know. And so I'm forever grateful to Elihu Pleasant-Bey and that book. I mean, it covers everything. Have you seen it?
I have not.
Exhuming of a Nation.
When I heard about it and tried to get it, it's like you can't get it. It's so expensive.
See, again, you can't get it because I know the whole backstory on that, which is not my business to tell. But we got some dirty Moors out here, and they will take your stuff. And you know, when that happens, you know, it just kind of takes the wind out of you. You know,
somebody's got on me, said something in the chat. Said that money from you answered the question of who the Anunnaki are. I guess we switched around. So I want to, for the sake, I mean, I know you said you don't know everything, but what you do know.
Okay.
PTR, and then could you just then we'll
Okay. Well, see, there's so much to talk about. But anyway, so I don't know everything, but I do, from my readings, understand that Nibiru is the planet that is as was described, the 12th planet. And it has an orbit of 3,600 years. And at that 3,600 cycle, they come back through our solar system. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
You know, on our solar system, in which the Earth is a part of, and the sun, of course, geocentrically, you've got Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, all of those planets that go around the sun, or so they say. You know, but Anunnaki, 3,600 year cycle, they come back into this orb again. They can't get close. I think that they can get as close as Jupiter because it's such a huge planet. And some people say it's not a planet, it's a spaceship. It could very well be, because that Elijah Muhammad talked about the mothership.
Yeah.
And what they do is they send what they call shams into our orb because the spaceship can't get here.
Mm-hmm.
Well, anyway, so they are a human like being, and very human emotionally, they act just like us, and that's why that eternal fight between brothers, sibling rivalry is there between Enki and Enlil. Okay. And so their father, Anu, there was a battle between him and another person who was rivaling him to be king at Nibiru. And so Anu won, and Allah, I think his name was Alat or something like that. He was thrown off of Nibiru. And so he was out in space just exploring, and he saw that Earth had gold. Well, the environment was depreciating around Nibiru, and they needed gold to repair the environment, pretty much where we are right now with the depletion of the ozone layer, but that depletion is deliberate. You hear?
Mm-hmm.
And so, so he returned to Nibiru and told them, hey, there is this planet that's got all this gold here, so maybe we should go down there and get that gold. Well, they got excited. Here's a place we can get to. We can go and get that gold. And so Enlil and Enki, the two sons of Anu, they came along, and their sister, Ninhursag, or what's another name for her? Because
Inanna.
Inanna, yes, that's her name, Inyana. And so, so they came. And Enlil was giving dominion over, the space, the spaceport. And Enki and his sister Inyana, they were given dominion over the Abzu. And I've just recently got a confirmation of what I thought the Abzu was. I was doing some more research on Cephas and I ran across it, and so, so they had these workers they call Ijiji, and they had a station on Mars, and they were put to work to harvest the gold. Well, the Gigi, they consider themselves demigods. They say, we ain't doing this.
Right. Yeah.
We are not doing this hard work. And so Enlil and his sister decided to create the Lulu. so that they could be the worker beings. And that's the Lulu that I showed you was on the Cosmic Prophecies wall, the wall in San Francisco. Okay, well, that started to be a real big problem. First of all, Enlil was a mean old nasty guy, and Inky was he was cool. He just laid back, he was cool. But he and his sister did work on the project, and as I said before, they actually did create the Lulu, who was designed to be a worker. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so they upgraded it so that they could do the work and then reproduce for themselves. Now, what my belief is, because you have the Ijiji, who we call the fallen angels, because what happened with them is after the created Lulu came along. Hey, them guys up there at Mars said, no, them girls is too pretty. We going down there and we gonna work with them, And so that began the, creating the Nephilim, according to the Bible. All this is in the Bible. The Bible is nothing but an astrology book, okay? That's all it is. And so those people who told you that astrology was bad and all that, they told you a big lie because they didn't want you to go and learn. They want you to stay away from that because that's what they use to keep us enslaved. Okay? They use that. And there's proof of it, 2020. They knew what to do. The minute the stars said, hey, we're going to tear you down, they locked us down. And that's what the star said. I'm going to tear you down. But I'm not going to get on that topic now because we're talking about the Lulu, and the worker beings and so. But it's my belief that we are the offsprings of the God. Inky put a whole lot of babies out here. Enlil stuck to. I don't even know if he had any baby. Yeah, he had a few.
Yeah, he had a son, Marduk or somebody.
But he never. Well, that I know of, he never had any with the humans, whereas Inky did. Okay, because the ladies look good to him too, And so I believe that we are the offspring of the gods. Whereas, the sub-gods, the Ijiji,
hybrids,
they are the hybrids.
So the Ijiji got with the Lulu, and the gods. But the gods had us from who? What was the union? Did they create us as their sort of or how did we get the gods who got with who?
I cannot for sure answer that, but because they were the gods, they weren't the sub-gods.
Right.
Okay. Then their bloodline was much more pure, and it was much more, advanced and designed,
Okay.
And so, I mean, this could go on forever, I mean, especially if people start asking questions. I haven't even gotten up to start talking about, how we even got to Cephas and the divine feminine, and
I know you wanted to see when you're going to point. I know the map is a little bit. We're not going to be able to see, but we will be able to see the lines that you want.
Yeah. But it was the cosmic prophecies that led me to all of that. Okay, let me get up. Okay. You see, being a crone and an old lady, it's okay. I think that I turned the light on off.
I can see the let me get this little thing out the way. All right, there we go. So we can see the lines that look like the hands of a
Okay.
clock.
Well,
Yeah.
okay. So this is a depiction of the map of the stars, and all of the constellations are here. Okay. And there are about 5 different circles. I just want to briefly go over them so we can see. Okay, this is the path. They call it the zodiac. This is the path of the planets as it goes around, this circle. Um, I see it as a dome, and the Earth is there, and this is the dome we look up at. It even looks like a dome. So this is a zodiac. It's in on this map. It's in orange dots. Okay.
Mhm.
So then you have like Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Cancer, the Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, etc., etc. Okay,
Mhm. Uh-huh.
and the movement is in this direction. Okay, going
Okay.
this way, clockwise.
Okay.
Okay, and then you have the precession of the equinoxes, meaning that it's going backwards. Okay, the equinoxes, instead of going from Aries to Taurus, it goes from Aries to Pisces to Aquarius. And so this is the other movement that is culminating. It's 26,000 years. I got a direct thing of 25,920 years. You never know how true that is. But anyway, so it goes backwards this way. All
Okay.
right.
So like counterclockwise.
That's called the precession of the equinoxes.
Okay.
Okay. And so this is why we're going from Pisces into this. Well, you can't see it. When I did this during the day, you could see the constellations, but you can't see it because this map actually reflects light. And when it stays by my bed, and I just move it in here when I'm lecturing. But when the lights go off, I have like the sky right by me. But anyway, so the precession of the equinoxes, we're going from Pisces to, this is Aquarius right here, and you see him with the urn where he's pouring the water from there. So it's going backwards, okay? And so we're moving into, from Pisces, the fish, going backwards into the age of Aquarius. So this is going this way, the precession of the equinoxes. And they say it's 26,000 years that happens, okay?
Okay.
And then we're moving through the galactic center, okay? Now, the Milky Way, this line here is called the Milky Way. And that's the galaxy that we are a part of, okay? And so right here you have, the Milky Way, and this is the galactic center. This is a black hole right here. Well, what's coming from this galactic center right now, is this plasma that is waking us up, and it's causing us to move consciously and to elevate. Now, there are those who don't want to elevate, and they can stay in the third dimension as long as they want to. It'll be all right, but there are those of us who want to ascend and to move into higher dimensions, you see?
Right.
And so it's this plasma that is emanating from this galactic center down here by the constellation of Sagittarius. You can see, like, this is Sagittarius right here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you see the arrow? No, you can't see it. I'm sorry. But anyway, so the galactic center is here and the plasma is coming from there. All right. So in the cosmic prophecies, there were these numbers that kept repeating all over the wall. 104, 189, 104, 189. And it was all over the wall in different places. And so we couldn't figure out what that meant. And then one day, I was doing my yoga, and, I went back like this, and I looked up and said, okay, let me go and look at my star map. And the 104 turned out to be pointing to Sirius, the star Sirius, the dog star right here. It's actually the brightest star in our sky. And this is Sirius up here. So this is why I have this line here. All right?
Mm-hmm.
And then 189 pointed to Virgo, the Virgin, or Isis. Okay? This is also Isis, what's known as Isis. And so then I said, oh, okay, well, we've got these 2 points here. All right. And so I said, well, there's a third point. There has to be a third point. Just mathematics, you already know that. And so I put this here, and it goes right through the constellation of Cephas. Now, the North Stars are here. What they call the North Stars. There is there's certain constellations that actually move around the center here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, our present North Star is Polaris, and it's the tail of the little bear. Here is who's that little bear? Yeah, here. And his tail goes right here to the North Star. You would not have GPS if it were not for the North Star. Okay? You have to have a point.
Right.
And so there are these constellations that actually move around the North Star. So Cephas is one of them. And then Draco, it says, we've just come out of the age of Draco. And that's why the Draconians are here on this planet, And so Cephas, is right here at the North Star. So it's going around. And what's going to happen now, and that's part of the message of the cosmic prophecies, is that Cephas is rising. Now, Cephas is the Ethiopian king. Okay? So it indicates that our time has come. And Dr. Finch, I don't know if you know. Do you know Dr. Finch?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. Dr. Finch, he is retired now. I think he's a little younger than I am. But he was the head of the School of Medicine at Morehouse. And he was the head of the department, and he actually brought African healers here, but he's been retired for a while. He and I are the only people I've ever heard talk about Cephas. You see, but I would not have known. I knew about Cephas because he had talked about Cephas, but I would never have studied it if I had not gotten this point. And it pointed straight to Cephas. And so I knew that it was very, very important. So I've spent a lot of time looking at Cephas now, you see. So this is another indication that our time is done. The stars are with us. And we're sitting around here looking crazy. You see, sis?
Yeah. So how do we actually use the fact that the stars are with us? How do we use that to any advantage? What should we?
Okay, if you have divine intervention, Okay?
Mm-hmm.
If everything that you look at tells you, hey, well, if you make this move right now, you're going to win.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Now we sitting here looking for food just like the Israelites, when they were supposed to be moving to the Holy Land.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, well, I don't want this. I don't want this stuff, we're picking up out here in this desert. We don't have no meat and bread like we had in Egypt. You see, so they would rather have been enslaved and eating, you see, but the time there was a divine intervention for them. What happened when they got to the sea and the Pharaoh was behind them? What happened? The sea opened up. Well, these things happen. I mean, how on earth could you be walking on the beach, minding your business before you got to run to work? And then Ptah comes and says, well, look here, I got something to show you. But see, it was unfolding. We didn't even know what Lulu was until a brother in New York, Minister Brown, Clemson Brown, he has Transatlantic Productions on YouTube. A lot of people out there will know Transatlantic Productions. Actually, I did 4 hours speaking about Cephas on that platform.
I actually think I put the link for that is in the description of the show.
Oh, what, the whole Cephas?
The 4 hours that you did, yes.
Oh, okay. Well, but you got to see the divine intervention, So right now, everything is in our favor. Okay? So it's time for us to stand up. I mean, they're not going to stop killing us. Negroes that are too scared to stand up, they're going to get killed anyway. Look at what they've done. I mean, there's certain and the the censorship. I mean, it's crazy. You can't say stuff. You can't even defend yourself. You can't tell the truth because you'll be censored. And if you are on a platform where you're seeking the truth and you say one word that gets all of their algorithms going, honey, you gone. They put you off.
Yeah.
You see, and that's sad because there are still people who believe that we have free speech. Can you believe that? There are people who actually believe we got free speech in America. And that First and Second Amendment right. First Amendment, of course, what was that? Speech, free speech.
Yeah, I think that's in the first, and then the second one is right.
And then the second one, right? You can't.
And we kind of see where that's going. We see where they're trying to go with that. With all the recent
well, they've already done it, and I'm sure a lot of people have not paid attention because a lot of people never knew. Mm-hmm. We had a standing black militia. I know black has no standing in law, but if I don't say black, folk ain't gonna know what I'm saying. Okay, I can say we had a melanated militia, but that don't even go right. So we had a black militia. Mm-hmm. They just put that brother in jail.
Oh, I remember that.
Well, no, they had him out and they were trying to figure out how they were going to trump up some charges on him like 2 years later. Now, the militia went into to Louisville to protest Breonna Taylor, her assassination in her house, sleeping in her bed, and I think there were 3,000 brothers and sisters who showed up. Well, we're supposed to, according to the Second Amendment, we're supposed to have a militia, armed militia. Well, honey, they accused him of, threatening a police officer. And you have a scope on the end of your gun, and there were some people on the roof, so he wanted to know who it was. So he just looked up there through his scope. How else was he going to see them people standing on the roof? They accused him of assaulting the police and then threatening a police officer and everything. And these are federal charges. And it took them 2 years to decide that they were going to have to punish this Negro. So just was it this week? Friday, I believe it was. He was sentenced. Oh, no, they haven't sentenced him yet. But he was found guilty by an all-white jury.
So-called white. Wow.
So so-called
definitely
white.
not of his peers.
White,
definitely not a jury of his peers.
Mm-hmm. It's certainly not a jury of peers. It is not a jury of peers. Okay. And so, I mean, it was, I saw a brother, he was saying this is a buck breaking decision. Breaking decision. They just want to make sure that they scared of the brothers enough to get them to stand back. Well, they're going to get you one way or the other. You mean you're not going to stand up because one brother got put in jail? They done put all of them in jail. What is it that Rod Hayes always says? All our brothers who were standing up for the community, they put them in jail. And some of them are there, and they've been there for a whole long time. And so, I mean, so like they say, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. And since we have everything is in our favor, we need to actually declare what's ours, and this is our land. We didn't come from Africa.
You've been over there. Look, you go over there, and a lot of them will tell you over there, no, you didn't come. The ones who tell the truth, the ones that are not benefiting from that, what is it, that West African coastline of sort of business deal they got going on over there. So, they profit from the lie. But I would assume that the deeper into the interior, if you will, of the continent, you find less of willingness to say, oh yeah, you all were taken over there on ships. They know we weren't.
Oh, they know we weren't.
We weren't.
There's a town in Ghana called Princestown, and I just found pictures that my daughter had taken with her baby about 12 years ago at Princestown. They said that they used to come over here all the time. Over here, trading.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, in that little town called Princestown.
But they never talked about until here lately. Did you ever realize that yes, there was some shipping going on, but it was the other way around. They were shipping folks from here to there.
Yes,
to create, to try to make room because they wanted to take over, sections of the, if you will, the I guess this East Coast section. They were shipping folk over to create Monrovia, Liberia, and whatever else they made. And
Sierra Leone, which it was so-called. When I did my, before I knew better about the DNA testing and all that, it came back that I was 99.9% Timni people, Sierra Leone. But later on, I got another one done from somebody else, and I was from somewhere else. But just the same, the fact of the matter is, many of our folks, our people, went over there from here, not the other way around. Yeah, absolutely. And not only that, the shipping of Black folks was from Europe. They were trying to whiten up Europe. Now, also that Europe was basically melanated.
Right.
During we don't know how long ago it was, to tell you the truth. Because the one we call Europeans right now,
the modern Europeans,
the non-melanated,
these are hybrids or modern Europeans.
The hybrid Europeans, they're only been there for maybe a few hundred years, because Benjamin Franklin had said, "Look at here, we talking about the 1760s, 1770s, you know. But Ben Franklin said, looky here, we don't need to be bringing any more of these melanated people, you know, from, he said, black, you know, from Europe, because we got plenty of them here. All the people here are dark-skinned people, swarthy, what he called it. And then he said the Irish are swarthy, the Germans are swarthy, the French, the Portuguese, the Italians, they're all swarthy. You know, the Germans were swarthy.
Right.
You know, and the Danes were swarthy. You know, and he said the only ones that are our color, meaning him, you know, or the hybrid European, they were the Anglo-Saxons. And basically, they were in that area. I think they called it the Paladin or something like that. I'm not sure. That area of Germany, I'm not sure.
Well, I've even heard of late that, at least recently, that even Hitler was swarthy, the real Hitler. You know,
well, I do know he was getting rid of them. Those are, and you know that the Hebrews, they were called what is it? That came out, came with what's his name? Columbus. You know, the Hebrews who came, they were the Muslims, the Moors, and the Sephardic Jews. The Sephardic Jews, they were not Hebrews, they were Sephardic Jews. Now, they were the ones who were conducting that, all of the ships, the merchant ships. They were the merchants. They're the ones who actually owned the plantations that were here. They were the pilgrims. And these were melanated people. You know, the first plantation here in Georgia, down there in Savannah, you know, was started by the Sephardic Jews who were dark-skinned, black. Okay, so we got a whole lot to unlearn.
Yeah.
And we've got too much we must unlearn this and take advantage of the fact that the stars are our clock, and we need to, and we need to just get into that energy and move forward. You know, this is our land. You know, and everybody want to try to make amends with everybody that's here. Well, we're the people who belong here, okay? Because we were here even thousands and millions of years ago. There's a brother in South Carolina. I have a map on my wall in my office. They found his DNA to go back 230-some thousand years. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now, here's another thing that this is me. I have no proof of it, except for we do know certain things. You know that cemetery that they supposedly got the DNA samples from, that the brother in DC, the African ancestry DNA. That's, African ancestry DNA.
Yeah, that's the first place I ever got my so-called DNA ancestry stuff.
They didn't give me no information except for, and it would cost $600 then. You know, I got it for my 65th birthday, and it cost $600. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let me tell you the truth. Okay. Now, who were the people who first who founded so-called New York. They called it New Amsterdam,
Right.
right?
Dutch Amsterdam.
New Amsterdam,
Right.
because they came over from Holland.
Uh-huh.
Holland at that time was the center of commerce, okay? And they were Sephardic Jews who were heavily melanated. It was my color, your color, and darker, according to people who actually, um, you know, wrote at that time. And even the royal families were all black. That's why their crests still have, uh, our people
Oh,
on their crests,
right.
because
That's
they,
who the
the so-called royal families in Europe right now done stole that identity. Okay, it's true, identity theft. And so okay, so New Amsterdam, it was settled, and Wall Street was funded by the Sephardic Jews. Okay? It's all in this book called Muslims and Jews and Muslims in British colonial America. Jews and Muslims and Jews, or Jews and Muslims in British colonial America. Okay? And so they describe not only how they look, what the type of businesses, and then they give rosters with the names of the people coming out of
Mhm.
Europe to settle America, and they could easily blend with us, and that's just what I believe that
Is
Rob
that what Rod was talking about? That they said they look like us, but
made
they are
us.
not. They're
Yeah.
not. Yeah.
Well, anyway, so Wall Street was really a place where they put a wall, okay, to keep the indigenous out, because this was the center of commerce even there at that time, New Amsterdam. Okay. And even they, if the gangs of New York, you see pieces of that information in that movie, you know. Okay, so they be telling you all this stuff, but see, if you don't have the background knowledge, you're not going to get it. And even I remember that what's that, Capriano, whatever his name is, that actor
I
who
know you're
was in
talking.
the Gangs of New York.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Leonardo Capriati or something.
Yeah, that's his name. Yeah, I remember this scene where he was at Tammany Hall, and he was standing in front of the portrait of Chief Tammany. And now Tammany is the one who sold out to William Penn. They
PA.
killed his wife, Winona.
Right.
Uh-huh. Because the women are the only ones who have jurisdiction over the land. So they killed off her and got him drunk and gave him a gun, and they say that he signed. Well, but it's illegal, because the men had no right to sign anything, especially they had no right to say anything about the land at all. But let me get back to Wall Street. So they were keeping the so-called natives out, you know, and so they built a wall. The Sephardic Jews funded that wall. That's why it's called Wall Street. Now, they also had a burial cemetery around Wall Street. Do you know where they dug up that so-called DNA of the black folks in West Africa?
From that.
It's in the same location. The minute I saw that, I said, well, let me go and see, because I firmly remember when they were digging up those graves, and they call it the African grave, call it the African grave site or something. And then one of my friends, he accompanied the so-called bodies that were supposed to be reinterred in Africa. They buried one there in Ghana. Okay. And so, but it was just in the same location. This is where the Sephardic Jews cemetery was. Now, I'm not saying it was the same one, but it's in the same location. Because when I heard about it, you know me, I'm just going to find out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I do all my investigation, you know, and I said, hey, you know what? I believe that those bodies that they call Africans were the Sephardic Jews from Europe.
And that's where you said they used their DNA to refer back to those who were seeking.
So they say.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you know, Henry Louis Gates, you know, that Negro, he was in this audience, mostly Europeans, and he was laughing about the African ancestry DNA. And he says apparently he's buddies with that guy. So he was telling all these Europeans in the audience that he had called his friend at the African ancestry DNA to tell him that he should make Oprah a Zulu because she had run around telling everybody she was Zulu. And so he said, you lying about it anyway. So you see how they tell on themselves when they're trying to make you laugh and make fun of you and all that kind of stuff. Now, this is Henry Louis Gates. I heard it. Right. You know, I don't forget this stuff. Now, I may forget some things, but I don't forget this.
You are entitled to forget some things. You've been here a long time. Even I'm forgetting stuff earlier. So, somebody asked a question in the chat if you could explain Zodiacus. I don't know. Do you know anything about Zodiacus? I don't know whether that's is that a star system too? Zodiacus. I know a sister that called herself Zodiacus, but I'm not sure what Zodiacus. Are you familiar with that?
I'm not sure what she's talking about, you know, but I'll look into it. I don't speak on things that I don't know. Zodiacus. Yeah. There are so many constellations and so forth. Mm-hmm. You know, do you remember several years back that they were trying to tell us that there was 13 constellations, and they were trying to put Ophiuchus into the constellation, into the zodiac?
Yeah, I missed that.
Ophiuchus. Let me show you. Okay, here's Ophiuchus. It's pretty big, you know, and it's right there. And this is Hercules. You know, well, see, this is Sagittarius right here. Mm-hmm. And they were trying, and this is the zodiac line. Now, to tell you the truth, Ophiuchus is not on the zodiac as all these other. Here's Libra, here's Virgo, you know, which is Isis, you know, and Ophiuchus is right here. But Ophiuchus is holding a serpent, you see. And they were trying to place that and tell us that we had 12 constellations there at that time, you know, but I'm Zodiacus. I'm not familiar with it.
Okay.
But I'll look into it.
That's fair. That is fair. Let me see. Tell us about the moving sidewalks. You know anything about the moving side? I don't know what that is. Is it right? Let me go back up. See if I can see anything that you can answer. Maybe. Memory says time to fight. Yep, the women are ready.
Well, we better be ready because we are the only ones who have jurisdiction over the land. Now, it's really hard because and you know what? I mean, this is me. I'm only speaking from what I believe, okay? That when they realized that at this point, because of that grand conjunction between Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto, Mars, Venus in 2020, 20, that they realized that it was time for us to wake up. You see, and so naturally they put us on lockdown. But I also believe that because they knew that the women would be the ones who had to step up. And I'm wondering if, they said, oh Lord, they done found out when that, the prophet called us to Ethiopia in
Mhm.
1996. Well, we did, when we got back, we stopped in New York, and we gave a presentation at Victoria 5, is right next to the Apollo, and presented that to the audience there, that, the prophet had told us that the women born in the African diaspora were going to change the world. And I believe that they wrote about it in the Amsterdam News, but they kind of poo-pooed it, but nevertheless it was written about, that the women in the African diaspora would change the world. And also the biblical manna, because we actually brought some of that manna back. And I had made like a little cake, and we fed it to people in the audience,
Mhm.
and so it was written about. And so in New York, they monitor, well, everywhere they monitor everything we say and do, you know. So I think that perhaps, and this is just me, I think that perhaps they said, okay, well, we gotta trap some of these black women, and so they entrapped them. When you get this job, you got this influence, everybody looking up at you, you so great, you getting this money, you got these cars, you can build a big car for your 2, 3 children in a big college somewhere. you know I believe that that's when they began to recruit our women, so that they would be loyal to the system. Those who are most educated, and what so-called educated, what was that Chancellor Williams said, miseducation of the black man, was that Chancellor Williams?
Um,
Uh,
no, I think it was Carter. Was it
yeah, maybe it
Carter
was Carter G. Woodson. The miseducation of the
of the
black,
Negro?
of the
So,
Negro. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
And so, yeah, so these universities, they do miseducate you, because why is it that now, when all the evidence is out, we still believe we came over from boats, in boats? When it was the Europeans who came over, the black Europeans who came over in boats, they got manifests. Even the Stuart family, the royal family of Stuart, King James was a Stuart, they got his relatives, on boats to Barbados. Names, descriptions, and that's how their descriptions, short, swarthy, short, light brown, short, dark,
Tawny, those
tawny,
things like yeah,
and all of those descriptive words let you know that they were not Anglo-Saxons.
right.
Okay, and they was shipped over from Europe in boats. So
And we're
okay,
talking about where the women are and stuff. And I keep, because I have a Christian background as a pastor, I keep thinking in terms. I don't look like you said. The Bible is a book of
it's
it's
an
an astrology
astrology
book,
book. It's an
astrology book.
astrology book.
And I'm looking even back. Somebody mentioned something about land and having to have an inheritance. Well, first of all, first thing I can say about inheritance, that it has in her. It don't say inheritance. It says it's in her. And so
Yeah, it's in
inheritance.
her.
And
Yeah.
I remember preaching a sermon, back when I was still in church, which was called, give the women their inheritance. And it was, when the man died, didn't have any sons, and they didn't want to pass on what the father had to the daughters, and they had to plead their case. which they did end up getting their inheritance, although they had stipulations that they still had to marry within the bloodline, because they didn't want the inheritance. But I'm always thinking about Proverbs 31, about who can find a virtuous woman. And one of the things, chapter verse 16 of that, and I pulled it up, says, among the list of things a virtuous woman does, it talks about how the husband trusts her. It talks about how, she'll do him good and not evil, that she looks for the wool and the flax and worketh it with her hand. And so she's making the clothing and the fabric for the clothing, that she's like a merchant ships, and she brings the food from afar off. So she gets and gathers what they need, and she gets up early and giveth, like I said, meat to her household, and a portion to her maids or her servants that work for her. And it says she considereth a field and buyeth it. So who was buying the land? The women. It's right here in Proverbs 31. She looked at the land and said, okay, yeah, that's good. I can, and she purchased it. She bought it. He didn't buy it. And
but
what did he do?
Were always had dominion over the land.
Absolutely.
They were the
Proverbs 31. She had dominion over a lot of things. Because it looks like her husband is known in the gates when he sitteth among the elders of the land. So he's sitting there gloating about the good woman, the virtuous woman that's doing everything. He's not doing it. She's doing it.
Well,
and we have to go back.
They have a very important job, and that's to protect us. Now, to tell you the truth, at this point, it may be that many of the women who really want to move forward, ain't nobody protecting them.
Wow. And
that
is deep. That right there, is deep. Because we have something that I've spoken to you and some of the elders that I've talked to about, and I'm just going to drop it out there a little bit, and we call it the war. The war, which means the women are ready.
I like that.
Right, the women are ready, and
the women are ready.
The women are ready.
We have to have protection.
Absolutely.
I mean, we got some demons. We battle not against flesh and blood,
right?
But powers of darkness, evil in high places. And that's another statement of the cosmic prophecies, is that evil in high places. It's all over the wall.
We see it. We can't help but see it. If you're not seeing it, your eyes are closed.
Look at here. Since 2020, whoever don't see it, they don't want to see it. That's all there is to it. They don't want to see. They're hiding their head in the sand. Okay, so if you're hiding your head in the sand, what's sticking up?
Your butt is.
Thank you, and you are get your butt whipped. Okay, hide as much as you want to. It's not going to change anything, and your butt gonna get whipped.
That's it.
And you might not survive it.
That's right.
You know what I mean? You know what? I'm looking at my like right behind me, and there's one thing that I really wanted to point out. Okay, and that's why I put the pictures on the wall. Okay, that cross in 2024. Okay, the total eclipse, I'm going to get up so that you can see it, of the sun. Now, okay, yeah. Can you see it? You see my pointer right here?
Yeah, let me get you a little bit so we can see it. All right.
Okay, it's kind of small, but nevertheless, you can see. August 21st, 2007, there was a total eclipse of the sun that went this way. Now, April the 8th, 2024, that total eclipse is going to go this way. All right?
Like an X, okay.
And it's going to make us X just south of Carbondale, Illinois, at a point that they call, what is that? What is that? Uh, Hawk or something, Kentucky, but it's just a few miles south of Carbondale, Illinois. Okay? And it's going to make that cross right there. Well, that is very significant. Okay? But when I was looking at that, I ran across the fact that April 21st, wait a minute, April 8th, 2024, it's going to go across this way. And in October the 14th, 2023, it's going to go across America. So this is two X's across America. Okay.
Is that like Xing us out?
Two X's across America within a 4-year period, or 8-year period. So what, from 2017 to 2024. Okay, so 2017, 2024 makes that X.
7 years.
2023, October, it's going to make an X over Texas. Okay, so these are points that are in mid-America. And so I said, well, wow, one thing about eclipses, they indicate that something big is going to happen. And so since we have that cross over the middle of America, one right after the other, something gonna happen. And that's within the next
2 years.
2 years. Well, we see everything falling apart right now. Well, that's what the Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto conjunction is about. You see, you got to destroy the whole thing so you can come up from the ashes. Phoenix.
And then your Kali. Kali is the destroyer and the creator.
Absolutely. And I attribute that name to Queen Khalifa. And that's who's on the cover.
Okay.
That's Queen Khalifa. That's a depiction of her. I have another one, but so many people have used that one. The one that's that mural in the hotels that's at the highest point in San Francisco. What is it? John Hopkins, no, some kind of Hopkins. Maybe it is John Hopkins Hotel. It's the highest point in San Francisco. And they got all these murals of Queen Khalifa. Wow. Yeah. And I've seen a whole lot of brothers or a whole lot of people use that mural, to depict her queen in all of her regalia, and then her warrior queen, princesses around her, hey, they got those murals are absolutely something else. Well, anyway, when I was living over in Monterey, California, I was up on a hill overlooking Monterey Bay. And at that time, just have 2 small children. I just had my youngest baby. And she was just a baby, an infant. And at that time, Queen Khalifa, she was speaking to me. And, that's her territory, California. California's named after her, And I used to write in my diary at night. And sometimes I didn't even know I was writing. I think they call it automatic writing.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes I wouldn't even know that I had written that for days, because I was working. I had 2 little children, it was a lot on my plate, And she's the one who gave me that name, But I used it in writing poetry and another book that I did, The Secret of Cycles. It was called Kali's Life Cycles Calendar. I produced that for several years, you know. What was the years that I did that? Let me see. I'm trying to think. What years was that? It had to be the early 70s when I produced those. The difference that The Secret of Cycles, women's cycles,
Mm-hmm.
but there are those that we don't know about too, And speaking of cycles, we have a women's formula. I think I sent you one.
You did.
Yes, the female hormone for balancing out our hormones, because it's really difficult with the food that we eat and the unbalanced meals and everything. And women have a whole lot of problems. And so, and I did work at a women's clinic too. Got a whole lot to talk about as far as that is concerned. I never wanted to work at a hospital, but as destiny would have it, it was a job I could get at the time when I left Miami and returned to San Francisco. It was the job I could get. So you take what you can get when you got to take care of some babies,
Yes, yes.
But pardon me?
No, I said yes, I agree.
Yes, you take what you can get. But it was the greatest lesson of my life, you see, because I learned what medicine was about firsthand.
Well, the fact that you took the was it Oriental medicine?
Yes, and
I
I
mean,
was
that in and of itself, because there's so much knowledge and wisdom in those traditions
right.
that go way beyond allopathic medicines and formulations, and that's why I love working with even Dr. Botanica, because he's trained in Oriental medicine. It's different. That gives you a whole different perspective. And like you said, when you talked about earlier about your husband, it struck me when I was asking you about what was an ethnobotanist, and you talked about the relationship between plants and people. And a lot of times we think, well, I'm thinking that people don't think of in terms of themselves having a relationship with the plant. It's
Well,
good.
we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the plants.
I knew there was a brother that used to bring me sassafras, right? And he would tell me that there was a place. I think he came and knocked on my door maybe about sometime last year. I hadn't seen him for a while, but I don't think I needed any. But he would tell me there was a plant, a tree that he would get the sassafras from the root, right?
Sassafras.
He said, but I asked permission first.
You do
of the tree in order to be able to take some of the root. And so I mean, I'm thinking in terms, that's a relationship, that because maybe if you don't ask permission, maybe that thing, instead of it being helpful, it either doesn't work, or maybe it's some kind of negative reaction because you just snatched its stuff from it. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, you have to respect the plants because they give us everything we need. And I think that what we're all going through right now is taking us back to nature. If you don't want to go back to nature, well, you can hang it up, because you're not going to survive. Period. Right. No further discussion. And I'm so grateful to have been able to explore so many environments in my life. I live in the forest right now. Remember I was talking to you the other day, and I saw there's a possum. I haven't seen a possum in a long, 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 long time. But they've destroyed about 80% of the forest in the past 24 years I've lived here. And they got these 2-cent houses that they put up in 5 days. I know I shouldn't talk about nobody's house, because I'm sure that everyone that moved into those new houses is so happy and so proud. But I saw them put them houses up in 5 days.
Oh my.
Yeah, I'm sitting here and they took the whole forest down. The forest, like, and in fact, that's probably one of the reasons why I saw a possum, because most of the forest, the virgin forest, where I live now,
Mm-hmm.
has been destroyed around here. I got deer. I don't know whether I told you they knocked down my fence back there, that I had to put up to keep the deer from eating, and the rabbits, and all of the chipmunk, all of them eat my food, okay, in my garden. And so the bucks came up one day. I had never seen bucks here,
With
but
the antlers.
they got antlers and knocked that fence down, ate my okra. I thought I was going to have about 3 or 4 more weeks of okra. Honey, they came in there and they ate all my okra. But anyway, so now I have my back porch full of plants. They're all in pots, and I'm going to have the biggest patio cornfield that you have ever seen, unless somebody come and help me put up that fence. I can't do it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I was just learning, watching a YouTube video today about how to get like several pounds of sweet potatoes by, how you start. And in its particular, they brought up the purple, because I've been buying purple sweet potatoes, which are like maybe almost $3-4 a pound for these. And they showed me how to start, how you can put them in this stuff and start
these 7-gallon, 5-gallon, 7-gallon pails.
Well, they were actually putting them in some moist, I guess some kind of starter or something, not wet, but moist. And you put it in, and he was showing how you put it in like just a Walmart plastic container to start the flour. Once it starts with flour, and then when you can cut it off.
We can do that.
Absolutely.
Well, the women were always the farmers. Women started agriculture.
Yes.
When we came out of hunting and gathering, it was the women who started agriculture, and that's our job too.
Mm-hmm.
I learned from my mother, just like I learned the herbs from my mother. I would just follow behind her and put the seeds in the ground. I remember they used to see, now I've been here a long time. So they used to have the horses come in from the country, and then they would plow all the backyards, at one time. And all the women would go out and put their seeds in the ground. Okay. Now I would follow behind my mother, and I would put the seeds in the ground. They used to say that the youngest child should put the seeds in the ground, because they're growing, and so the plants will grow. So that's, that this is some crone info that you're getting tonight.
Can you explain? I know what a crone is, but can you explain to the viewers and listeners what a crone is?
Okay, it's an older woman who has learned from experience and wisdom, and those who reject the wisdom of the crone will be in for a very hard time, and that's one of the problems that we have now, is that people don't have time to listen to the old people. In fact, they hide the old people away and try to kill them or something, But anyway, there. In fact, we're in the new moon phase now, and so those dark days of the new moon, are the days that the crone actually does her special work. Okay. And then the time when the moon is becoming, quarter moon, then that is when the girls, are being, the crone hands the energy over to the young girls. And then there's the maiden, who are the young girls who are just going into puberty. And then there's the mother. And then we go back to the crone again. Those are the phases of the moon.
So that's the crone is the full moon?
No, it's the dark moon.
The dark moon. So when you don't see the moon, is that what is it that when you say,
she's doing her work?
And then the quarter moon is the
young girl.
Young girl.
The full moon,
full moon
you
is
know, is the maiden who is ready to bear children in the older, you know, than the mature woman, you know, and then it goes back into the darkness of the moon again.
oh, okay.
Mhm.
That's good. That is so good to know.
Mhm.
Wow. I we have other things to go over, I'm sure. And we're
Oh man.
I don't want you
Oh
to come up.
wow.
Yeah,
It's 10 o'clock.
it's after time. Well, but I you'll have to come back, Mama Callie, because you know you're so full of wisdom, and I know we're going to be doing some other things together.
Yes.
Yes, we're
Yes.
going to do some other things
I know we
together.
will. You know that war.
Yes, the war,
Mhm.
the
And
war.
you know, I never did send you that link because the program had come on, you
Mm,
know, for the cosmic prophecies.
yes.
The title on YouTube is Divine Intervention, but I don't know. I think you need that link because it really hasn't been released yet because I sent you. Didn't I send you that link?
I
I
don't think
did. It's about it. It may be in your messages. I
I
wish
will.
that you could actually put it up, even though we have a whole lot of work yet to do. I have a young brother who is helping me to do it because one thing about us
Here we go.
crones, we don't want now. We really don't want to have to learn all this stuff. You know,
Hmm.
I got other things to do. You know, all this technology and everything changing every 2 minutes, you know. I don't have that kind of, you know, I didn't grow up with
Well,
buttons.
actually, no. It looks like where'd it go? Divine interview. I pulled it up. I'm
Hmm.
not sure that I can. It's in my phone as opposed to getting it up here. So I'll find a way to share it. Even if I share it like on the House of Reawakened Minds page, I will do that and to tell
Hmm.
anyone that wants to.
Yeah, because see, it's telling you about what's going on now.
Right.
And we took those pictures 1995 through 1998.
Yeah, and that's what that's what prophecy is. Forthtelling. Telling what's going on. It's just important that now more of us are paying attention to things that heretofore we had not. You
Right.
took things for granted. You thought things were going to be a certain way, and if you don't, like you said, if you don't realize that that's no longer the case, then you are, lost in the sauce as far as I'm concerned. But those who got their head above water and out of the sand are looking for ways to link up, band together, and to make a change that is positive to bring us back to a place of wholeness. And so I appreciate, you, and I appreciate the other sisters that I've spoken with who are, have the same zeal. And last week I had an awesome show with Grand Sheik's Daria Bay and her group, with the
Mhm.
women that what they're doing, the ladies of the light and the daughters of Drew Ali working together to do, sister healing. And so the women are ready. It's just the it's kind of like the crones. Like you said,
Yep.
it's the
Yes,
crones.
it is. And we just have to call them brothers up to protect us.
Absolutely. And I'm grateful to Brother Rod Hayes, because he is in support. Appreciate him. And I'm actually going to throw this out there. So a couple things are going on since we're at the end of this interview. But on the 16th of June, which is coming up in about a little over 2 weeks from now, we're going to have a very special 3 hour, at least probably 3 hour, because we now do 2 hours on Fridays, first and third Fridays. Grand Sheik does. We're going to do a special 3 hour with Grand Sheik and Rod Hayes together.
Oh,
Um,
that would be great.
so heads up, y'all. Spread the
Mhm.
word. 16th, it's gonna be real. It's gonna be live. And also, Mama Callie, just so I can get it out there, we don't have the flyer up yet, but at the House of Reawakening Minds here, in Delaware, we are actually having a holistic health and wellness fair with Dr. Botanica, Brother Dr. Dave, who's another holistic practitioner. We have some others that are coming in, crystals and crystal healing, energy work I do. On the 25th, it's going to be an all-day event at the House of Reawakening Minds. And so we're hoping, that folks will want to come. We're going to have a lot of giveaways, I also have a drawing coming up for a $2,000 crystal mattress pad. Of course, they have to buy it's a donation to the House of Reawakening Minds, but somebody's going to win a queen size Chris 16.
Well, give me a heads up on that too. I wanted to.
Because it doesn't matter whether you're here. You don't have to be here for that because we're going to ship it. It's going to be shipped. But so it's so we got things coming up, and then we got a couple of up close and personals. We did 2 last year. So one is going to be in August. One is going to be August. I believe it's the 25th, and the other one's going to be October 29th. So we're going to have 2, but Grand Sheik should be at least the health and wellness and the 2 up close and personals. But we have different, we'll have some other speakers, and I hope that we can get you out of the woods or something before the year's up and get you up here too.
Oh, well, I'd love to come, but I ain't too crazy about planes right now. And I go all over the world, but honey,
no, we aren't either. Grand Sheik will not get on a plane. So anybody.
I don't blame him because having heart attacks up there.
Yeah, bus, trains, or cars. That's how we do it. That's how we do it.
I think that's what I have to stick to too. I'm not too crazy about planes, and I've been on. You've been all around the world getting on planes.
Well, Grand Sheik has been talking about it even before the jab thing came, but he was talking about the thing that was happening with the planes falling out the sky, losing their parts and so forth. And I have a friend dear friend that works on them. And after they've been up in the atmosphere for so long, and the various whatever's in the atmosphere, the stuff they spray and all that stuff, and the radiation that is going through, that
plasma is out there. I keep telling you, honey, that stuff is affecting everything.
And I guess we have to do something. Do we need to do anything to strengthen our own bodies? Because things, you feel.
Well, you have to work on your immune system. First of all, you have to clean your liver. You have to clean your, your lungs. You have to clean your kidneys. We have all of those products at herbalful.com. Okay? Mm-hmm. We have all of those products. These products are not new, and they came from experts and have been tried and true for years, decades.
Wow. Well, yeah. So
we just got a new website, and my granddaughter is helping me so I can do some other stuff. I got other stuff to do,
Yes. Mm-hmm. Right. So make sure you visit www.herbaful.com for the products and how many years has it been, Mama Kali?
Well, we say 4 generations because, I never I never went to a hospital. My mother always got things from the field to heal us, so I learned from her. Now, we started Mama Moringa, let me see, it had to be around 80 something. I'm trying to remember because we published that first book, and then we published another one, Rejuvenated Plants of Tropical Africa. And after we published that, everybody wanted herbs. And so we had to start doing herbs, and that was in the 80s. So 80s, 90s, 10, 20, almost 40 years.
So you do all of your harvesting and so forth now. I know
you said no, that's impossible.
I was going to say, because I know you said you were doing stuff in Africa, in Ghana.
Oh, well, that's my moringa farm.
Okay, so it's still okay.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And fortunately, I have a very good brother who's over there taking care of it now. And of course, he's doing phenomenal work. He's growing all kinds of exotic vegetables and fruits. He's put the fruit trees up, medicinals. He's really doing that over there now. So it's a big plot that when did we get that plot? I think it was 2007. Okay, so it's a really big plot outside of Anamabo. Anamabo is in Fantiland. It's very close to the rainforest. The Cocoon National Forest, where they have that, walk. They call it what do they call it? It's a walk that stretches between the trees, 200 feet high.
Oh, you walk because you're 200 feet.
Yes, on a thin rope, the 200 feet in. They have that there. It's just a few miles from the farm. It's a beautiful rainforest. So we've got plenty water there. Chris just opened up the old well that we had dug back in 2008 2008. And we went down 14 feet and got water. But he had to dig another, I think he said he hit water 18 feet down. Hey, so the water table is very, very high. We were there at a rainforest.
Well, that's great. That's great. Mm-hmm. So you get a lot of vegetation. Well, y'all, listen, this has been absolutely, this has been amazing. And I appreciate each and every one of you all, your comments. And I apologize if we weren't able to get to your question, but Mama Kali will come back and also check her out. I think it looks like your site is actually HipHop Hieroglyphs from that, where you have that link. I don't know what
did you see it?
I actually saw it, but it's on the phone, so I can't get it.
Oh, yeah.
I can pull it up, but I can't get it over here. But I'm gonna get you to come back, because I want to talk to you another time about astrology and astronomy and how we need to be getting more educating ourselves, because like I said, for many years we were kept away from the science that they have used to do what they do to control us. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And they say wise men follow the stars. Well, so do wise women follow the stars, and so we've not been very wise, those of us who have kind of wrote it off as something that was demonic, and actually all the time what was demonic.
Well, that's what they taught us, Oh, that's a demon. Oh, that's devil. Oh, yeah. Oh, no. I have a book from the Church of Light. It's called Spiritual Astrology. It talks about the fact that the Bible is an astrology book.
Right.
That's what it is. You just have to understand. Oh, I got to tell you about this one. I forgot all about it, but it's too late. I was going to tell you about ISIS, and it'll take me 30 seconds, 30 minutes, not 30 minutes. I mean, 3 minutes. Can I do that?
Go ahead, Mama. You got all the time you want.
Okay. So, Virgo. This is from the Cosmic Prophecies. That's I found that, I think it was September 23rd, 2017, when that Revelations chapter 12 actually showed up in the sky. Do you have a Bible by you?
Yeah, let's see.
Do you? Revelation chapter 12. I have it here.
I'll pull it up.
But let's see.
Revelations 12.
Okay, so I want to point out, you can't see it. Well, Virgo, They said there was a woman clothed, you know,
Oh
and
yeah.
there was a circle of stars around her, and
Yeah.
this was
It
in
says, and
pain.
there appeared a great woman, a wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the
Right,
moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars.
right, okay. And she was in pain from
And she
giving
being
birth.
with child cried, travailing in birth and
Uh-huh,
pain to be delivered.
right. Now, okay, there were
And you
in
want the rest of
addition.
it? The dragon. And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon,
Mhm.
having 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 crowns upon his head, and his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven, and did cast them to earth. And the dragon stood before the woman,
Right,
which was
right.
ready to be delivered for to devour her child as soon as it was born.
Absolutely. This is played out here in the stars, okay? You know, and the crown is right here in the constellation of Leo, and then this cup over here on her head, you know, and then the dragon right here. You see, I mentioned Ophiuchus. So when she gave birth, the dragon was there to divide to actually devour her child.
Yes.
Yes, right here, played out in the stars. I told you I could do it in a couple of seconds. Okay, so
So,
all
there,
it's just there, you know. But we thinking it's something else, you know, because that's what we were told, you know,
absolutely,
in church,
absolutely.
you know. So you know, it was a spiritual astrology. Yeah, you know, my two favorites are spiritual astrology and medical astrology. You know, those are the two that I want to do now. All of this forecasting about who you are, all that everything, that's good, but that ain't what I want to do. I did that. I did that 40 years ago. I think I
So
did.
with medical astrology, you're able to look at a person's chart, someone's chart,
Uh-huh.
determine
And see,
what.
yeah, where the problem lies. You know, and what the fixed stars are that is causing the problem. You know, there are fixed stars that are in your chart, and you know, just knowing what those the how those stars actually affect you, and looking at the
So
makeup.
if they're fixed, doesn't mean you can't change certain things.
No,
Um,
no, 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 no. All constellations are fixed stars.
mm,
All kinds of. That's how they've been able to determine what they are, you know, and draw those pictures in the sky because they don't change. See, the planets move. That's why they're called planets.
right.
The zodiac stars, you know, they're fixed stars.
Okay.
See, and so depending on exactly where, you know, what degree of what sign you were born on, then it relates to a certain fixed star.
I
Okay.
see.
Yeah.
And there's a question out here. Just want to make sure before we ask. Someone wanted to know whether or not two questions. What's the name of the map that you're using? And do you sell moringa? I guess just the plants or straight moringa. I know moringa is in your formulations, but I guess they're asking if you sell
The
moringa.
plants?
I don't know what they're asking about the places. Does she sell
No,
moringa?
we sell moringa powder capsules. Yeah,
Okay.
from herbapol.com.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but for the plants, those are tropical plants. Now, I know people who go to great trouble to keep their plants, and they have to bring them in. They put them in the sun in the summertime and bring them in during the winter. Well, most of the time when they bring them back in, they just grow tall because you got the heat in your house and everything. They're all stringy and they don't produce leaves and everything. So unless you're in a tropical area, and there are tropical places here in America. I mean, Florida, you can grow, you know, Texas, you know, maybe southern Louisiana, Mississippi, and then there's Arizona, New Mexico, Southern California. Those are places where you can be very successful growing moringa. I have seeds, and so if somebody wants to have an indoor plant, that's fine, and so there you are. I really tried for years to try to grow them, but as soon as the first cold snap came, that was it. It was gone. It cannot take any cold. Okay.
Well, again, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, dear.
And we'll have you back. Look, check. Just if nothing else, go to YouTube and put in. If you don't want to put Mama, at least put in Kali Sichen, and it will pull up various and sundry videos. The 4-hour one about Cephas, and I don't know whether you'll find the one about the HipHop Hieroglyphs, because I don't know whether your name is not
like
in that.
We haven't really completed it and put it out yet, but it's a forecast of what's to come. And there are many things that cannot go on YouTube because they're censoring. And
Absolutely.
so, and I mean, this is from the divine one, Ptah. He said he the one did it. I can't argue with it, or should I say Inky, whichever one. Mm-hmm. So thank you.
Well, we have you back. They told me there was a lot of interference. Somebody said they don't want you to talk, but we know. Hopefully,
really? Was there a lot of interference?
I don't know. There was probably some freezing and so forth, but it happens. But we will get you back on here. And for those of you who had never heard of Mama Kali, now you know. He said, if you don't know, now you know. It's time for her to step out of the shadows, because we didn't talk about it, but she, you worked a lot in the shadows of, your husband supporting what he did, and you did a lot of writing and so forth. And I know others that have done it, but we got to stop being somebody else's ghost and be our own real, who we are to be, So.
Yes, and that's very true. That's very true, but I don't regret anything that I ever did, because it was like an initiation in itself. There are places that I could never have actually accessed, had I not been with him. That's true. It's very true. I mean, we went into the catacombs of the Cairo Museum, because the senior herbarium keeper came from the same school in England that Ando went to, the Royal Botanical Gardens at Kew. And so he had just come back from there when we got we got to go and see a whole lot of stuff that the public never sees, and then going into all of these places, sacred places, Nigeria. I stood next to Oshun in the water. I got to put that out there, show those pictures, and those unbelievable. I don't even know what to call them in those sacred cities in Nigeria, Oh man! So there's a whole lot yet to be shown in Ethiopia. I mean, there's just so much.
They were asking the name of your book. I guess I'm thinking the book that you held up earlier, but it's
which one?
It says name of the book, please, and I'm not sure. I'm not sure if they're talking about the one that's. They might be.
The one that you can get from me now.
I don't know if there's the booklet or the book.
It's a little booklet that will actually give you all of the information that I've tried to tell you and show you on this map here.
You sent me, but the other book that's going to be reprinted, right? That was the one about the
biblical manna.
Yeah, biblical manna. That's the book that's not available right now.
It's not available right now. And then, of course, we did The Adventures of Obatala, one of the very famous Babalaos of Nigeria, Elibudabon. His manuscript was we published his, edited and published. And then there's Astrological Geomancy in Africa. And this is the 1898 manuscript that had never been published that I put out. Uh-huh. And it's actually amazing. It's really amazing. Yeah. And of course, picture of the biblical manna. Can you see it?
Yes. Yeah.
That little white blob. And that the tree that it grows on, they say that it is it's Tamarix nilotica, and apparently they say that this was the tree that Moses, his staff, magical staff, was made from that tree.
Okay.
No, and then we have What Ails Me. The Great Leviathan. Too Long Don't Know Myself. And that one I wrote when I was in Nigeria with my sister. I spent a long time there with her.
So your email is in the comment, in the description of the show. And if they want to reach out to you and ask you about availability of some of your booklets and so forth, they can.
Yes,
please do. Okay, so check out the description in the go back to the description, and her email is there, and other contact information, a couple links for a couple of her videos. One, I put the one in there with you and your granddaughter, and a little interview, and as well as the Cephas.
Oh, my baby. Well, she's not the baby. Yeah, thank you. That's Layla. Oh, she just did a wonderful description. She just spent a year in Ghana, going to school there, and she had to talk about one of them teachers.
Oh, righty.
It's brand new. It's Ghana girls, and this is Layla. And Layla, let me see. She's just talking about her teacher, who was her, I think they called it religion and ethics class. So I think that was wonderful. She just did that one. Just came out a couple of days ago.
I know this one was you and she, and they were, I don't know what, I didn't see it in entirely.
Oh, yeah. She interviewed me about the herbs one time, many years ago.
I think she's young then. Yeah. So, yeah, she's younger then, right?
Well, she's only 13 now.
Okay. So maybe she's a little young. Well,
so she was probably about 11 years old when she did that.
Well, I believe that's the one I put there. In addition to Cephas. So, but thank you again, Mama Kali. You've got some folks, loving on you in the chat, and I'm glad, and I'm so glad that you share your wisdom, and all calling all crones. Look, we know
calling all crones, honey.
Calling all crones to join the war because the women are ready. And we again. Thank you. So let me see.
Thank you. I sure have enjoyed myself, but honey, you get me talking, honey. I don't know how to shut up.
It's okay. It's okay. It's totally okay. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you. I look forward to joining you again.
All righty.
I look forward to listening to Grand Sheik. I told you that, I've been following Grand Sheik a long time. Taj, and when he and Rod are together, I'm looking forward to
that. I'm looking forward to that. That's going to
be a bomb.
Yep. Yeah. So I guess y'all spread the word. Yeah. So
yeah. I know my best friend here in Atlanta. She's another crone, Ella. my best friend here in Atlanta, and she's out of California, folks, getting from out of California and New York, coming here to Atlanta. And she's been here for about 15 years, I believe. But she was buying our books way back in the day.
Wow.
So she's got some of these books I don't have that we published.
Ran out of copies. I know how that is.
Okay.
All right.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We'll talk soon, okay?
Yes, we will. All right.
Okay. And thank you for putting the website and all of that. Okay, thank you.
Alrighty.
Okay. Take care now.
All right.
Okay. Peace.
Peace. Y'all, thank you so much. Thank you for being a terrific audience. Y'all know how to act like you know how you are. Mama Kali is an awesome guest, and I will bring her back. I promise. Promise. How's that?
Dr. G, inviting you to get your Chokeberry Plus today. It is that amazing berry, high in antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, antiviral properties. It supports and balances the blood pressure, the blood sugar, weight, and cholesterol. Yes, you can get a 2-month supply today by texting CB3L to 302-345-0500. That's CB3L to 302-345-0500. And get on the path to wellness today. You'll be glad you did.
Okay, y'all, my computer's acting up, but I have jumped on my cell phone to try to end the show. And let's see, don't have any music to play, but thank you all. Let me see. Let me get this. Let me end this, y'all. My phone is.
Dr. G, inviting you to get your Chokeberry Plus today. It is that amazing berry, high in antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, antiviral properties. It supports and balances the blood pressure, the blood sugar, weight, and cholesterol. Yes, you can get a 2-month supply today by texting CB3L to 302-345-0500. That's CB3L to 302-345-0500. And get on the path to wellness today. You'll be glad you did.
Well, y'all, I'm going to have to end this without my theme music because I am no longer logged into my computer, but stuff happens. But where there's a will, there is absolutely a way. I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in to tonight's broadcast. Appreciate you. Appreciate the warm reception you gave to my guests, and appreciate your overstanding of this doggone thing acting up. I'm coming back in if I can.